to you. That will be helping you people. Good. Okay, fine. So now coming to the session, these are the most key important points. Okay, the key important point is, as I told you, the class name must be same as the program name. The first important point. The second important part is, whenever we are having the class must be having the class is just a blueprint. It is having the state and the behavior. The class is having the both state and the behavior. Okay, so what is the state and what is the behavior? When I say data types, when I say variables, these are called as state. Then what is behavior? Behavior is called as functions. Okay, whenever I say a function, this is called as a behavior. Okay, now an object must be created to class, only then physical existence happens. Whenever I have a class, an object has to be created for the class. This is the most important point. The last word is, the keyword to create an object is new. The new is the keyword to create an object. Keeping this as a very preliminary for this program, I'll be going to the practicals. Okay, so this all 4 points are very important. I have to start a class. When I have a class is having two things, state and the behavior. When I say int A, int B, float A, float B, these are called as state. Then what is behavior? Behavior is something like functions. Functions are called as actions. For example, I say add, merge, okay, subtract. Whenever I have something like actions are called as functions. Keeping this as a preliminary, I'll be starting with the practicals. Okay. Now, I assume you people are used to work with Eclipse. I'm just opening the Eclipse now. I'll be sharing this code to you. I have two programs here. One is called as exception handling. Other one is called as thread example. Okay, first I'll be taking this thread example as of now. Second meeting, we can take a different program. Okay, I want you people to concentrate properly. First thing what I'm doing here is, I'm importing the package called java.util.random. Okay, the import is the command to import a package in Java. I'm importing the package called as random. Okay, few people have been written something like this, dot star. Okay, you can write dot star also, or specifically you can write dot random. Not a problem. I'll tell you why I'm using this particular package. As of now, how I want you people to analyze the program is, directly come to the function where we have come to the class where we have public static void main. Okay, so this is the program start. Wherever I have public static void main, this is where the program actually starts. So what is the program class name here? The class name here is thread example. What's the class name here? The class name here is also a thread example. Okay, if you can see, both the class name, the thread example is the class name here, the program name, and the thread example is the class name. So this is very important point. After that, why exactly we have to do public static void main is, the program execution in Java. The Java compiler always expects the programs to start from public static void main string args. Why it is static, why it is void, it is not my intuitive to tell for this particular session. If we have time, we can take it in a different session. But as of now, must understand that public static void main is the most important thing where the program execution will start. Okay, in the public static void main, I'm creating an object. This is called as creating an object. What do you mean by creating an object? Creating object. Which object I'm creating? I'm creating an object of the number class. So what is number? Number is a class. Okay, what is the number? Number is a class. Okay, I'll see, is there a class by name? Is there a class by name number? I'll go up. There must be a class by name. Yes, there's a class by name number. Okay, I'm creating an object of that class. That's it. I'm saying number n1 is equal to new number. Okay, I'm creating a new object. Fine. So if you can know, this particular program is basically working on the threads. Okay, I want you people to analyze what is a thread. Okay, thread is actually a process which is happening in a Java execution. Whenever I create a new operation, whenever I create a new process, there is some thread created for every opportunity. When I say, okay, I want to now run addition, in the backend, the thread would be created. When I say subtraction is running, in the backend, the thread would be created. So for every execution, for every operation in Java, threads will be happening in the backend. Makes sense. Okay, when I say a thread is there in the backend, every thread can be controlled. We can control the thread. Controlling the thread means to say that we can either stop the thread, or else we can create a new thread. We can give a name for the thread. We can make the thread to sleep. These are different operations possible to do inside the thread. Great. Now what we are doing in this particular program is, the program says that create a thread and do a square of the number and do a cube of the number. Okay, and make the thread to sleep for some time. If there is some error, then catch an exception. Mean to say show some error. Okay, the first important thing is, we have two programs here. One is the thread example, other one is the exception example. Okay, this is with respect to thread program, and here we have one more program called as exception example. First, what I do is, I feel we can go with the exception example first, later we can go for the thread example. Okay. Now in this case, the same as I told you, the exception example is the class name. The program class name is exception example, and the program name is also exception example. Good. Okay, it is having public static void main. Yes, it is having public static void main. As you people know very well, okay, the program says is enter accepts two number from the user. Okay, then if it is followed by division error, mean to say it is not able to divide by 0, catch with an exception. If it is not so, then print the output. Mean to say that, for example, if I say user enters the value A as 3, user enters the value B as 4. Okay, then no issues. 3 by 4 not at all a problem. Assume A is equal to 3 and B is equal to 0. 3 by 0 is infinity. The system can't display as infinity. Mean to say that you can't display infinity on the screen. So what we say is it is a divide by 0 error. So for us, what happens is we need to handle these kind of situations where if user enters the B value as 0, then what we must show an error telling it as no, it can't be divided. Okay, that is a program. For that, what we do is we importing the package called as import java.util.star. Why are we importing the package called java.util.star? Because we are using the scanner class here. When I'm using the scanner class here, as you can see, the scanner class is present inside java.util.scanner. So only I'm importing the package called java.util so that I can use my scanner class. Okay. The first important thing is I'm writing a public class exception example. The most important thing is, sir, is that it has to be public always? Yes. Whenever I have public static void main function, the class name must always be public. Okay, that's the first important point. Now what I say is scanner sc is equal to new scanner of system.in. When user enters some particular number, I need to scan it, right? To scan it, I require a scanner, right? So I'm creating a scanner object here. I say scanner sc is equal to new scanner of system.in. System.in is the parameter where I say as I'm expecting this parameter as an input. Okay, good. So now what I do is I'm using system.out.println and enter the value of a. Okay, enter the value of a. Enter the value of a. User enters the value of a. Great. After user enters the value of a, what we must be doing? After user enters the value of a, we need to accept the value. We need to scan it. Okay. If you want to scan the value of a, then what we do is sc.nextInt. What is this sc.nextInt? You only created an object of scanner. How did we create an object? I told you, right? New is a keyword to create an object. I'm creating a scanner object. It is ready. It is stored in the variable called as sc. Now, whenever I want to scan something, I can directly use sc. Okay. Now I say enter the value of a. User enters the value of a. I will scan it. I say sc.nextInt. Okay. Now when I say sc.nextInt, mean to say that whatever I scan next, it is an integer data. Okay, sir. How is it so? It's very simple. When you do it, when you are using Eclipse, you can do sc dot automatically say next int, next byte, next short. What you're expecting? I'm expecting integer. So I say sc.nextInt. Great. Okay, now sc.nextInt. Then what we do is the user enters the value of a. It is stored inside the variable called as a. Good. Okay. Now we have one more value. Enter the value of b. User enters the value of b. Again, I scan sc.nextInt and put it in b. Good. Okay. Now what I do is if user has entered the value of a as 10, value of b as 5, not at all an issue. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Division happens as usually. If in case the 10 by 5 division is not proper, it is an error. Mean to say that user enters the value of a as 10, value of b as 0. What is 10 by 0? 10 by 0 is infinity. I can't put it on the screen. So what I say, I need to handle this scenario is what the program says. To do that, inside Java, we have a concept called exception handling. It is called as exception handling. What is exception? We can't divide a number by 0. There is an exception. So we need to handle that scenario. How to handle it? We have two different blocks. One is called as try block. Other one is called as catch block. Okay, we have two different blocks, try block and the catch block. Okay, we have one more block called as finally. Is there in your theory session? I mean, it's not concerned to this particular program. I have try, catch, and finally. These are the three different statements which is used to handle the exceptions. Now what I say is, okay, you try to divide a by b. If in case it is working fine, no issues. If in case a by b is not happening, then you must catch. Catch it where? Catch it in exception. Thus, what is this exception? This is called as an argument. Someone is throwing something here, then I need to catch it. Catch it has to be in the argument. This is an exception argument. Mean to say that I'm trying to execute a by b. It is working fine, no issues. If not, then come here, I'll catch that exception. Then I print that exception. I'll print what was the problem. There is a complete program. I'll repeat. Here I'm asking the user to enter the value of a. and asking the user to enter the value of p. I'm scanning it using sc.nextend. So what is this sc? Sc is a scanner object what we created. Where is the scanner present? Scanner is present inside the java.util.star. And you must ask me a question, sir, why the system.out.println is there in any other package? Yes, actually there's something called as default package. Okay, there's something called default package. Mean to say that by default the package would be there in this java.lang. There's a package called java.lang. Inside the package java.lang, there is already system.out.println. Everything would be appeared in Java programming, so that we are not importing that package. But explicitly, if you are using the scanner, then you have to use import java.util.star. Okay, I have created a scanner object. Then I ask the user to enter the value of A. I'm scanned it and stored it in A. Enter the value of B. Scan it and store it in B. I'm trying to do system.out.println. Then I say A by B. Yes. Then I say A by B. If A by B is not, if A by B is not, I mean A is a number, B is not a zero, then not at all an issue. If A is not a number and if A is a number and B is zero, then it causes you the problem. How? 3 by 0 is an infinity. 3 by 0 is infinity. Infinity means to say that we can't divide. We can't divide anything. So that we need to handle it. For that, we're having something called as exception. So we have three statements: try statement, catch statement, and finally. So these are the three different blocks: try, catch, and finally. Okay, we are using only try and catch. Try to do this, if not, catch it. Very simple. I'll try to run this code. I'll try to run this code. Okay, so the most important thing here is you must understand try and the catch block. Try block is used to run something. Catch block is used to catch something, is as an exception. Okay, and we have three statements: try, catch, and finally. Finally, we are not using it as a theory perspective, but we are concerned of using the try and the catch block. And this concept is exception handling. I'll show you now. I'll say enter the value of A. It is asking to enter the value of A. I say A value is 5. Okay, enter the value of B. B value is like 2. Okay, A by B is 2. Of course, sir, 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. You are getting output as 2. Yes, I'm getting output as 2 because I'm dividing integer by integer. I'm not dividing float by float. If my division was float by float, then would have got an output as 2.5. You are using integer by integer. So your output will be always at integer value, not a decimal value for your, if in case asked in Viva. You have to be very careful with this. Okay, A by B is actually 5 by 2 is 2.5. I'm getting 2 because 5 is stored as an integer, 2 is stored as an integer. Integer by integer, output will always be an integer. So we're getting as 2. Good. So this is not a problem. Great. Now what I do is I try to run once again. I'll try to run the comment and then I say enter the value of A. A value is 5. Great. Enter the value of B. The B value is 0. Now what must be the output? 5 by 0. 5 by 0 is infinite. It must not show any output. So what I show? It must be handled, right? So I'm trying to handle. I just done it. It says java.long.arithmetic exception. Mean to say that it says 0 by 0, I mean divide by 0 exception. I'm handling it. Divide by 0 is the exception. If I'm trying to do this, it says that I'm trying to divide something, but I'm not able to divide because it is getting the divide by 0 exception. This is what the basic concern, what we need to understand in this program. Okay, we are trying to execute something, but we're not able to do it because division by 0 was the problem. Okay, this is the major concern of this program, where we're using try block and the catch block. Okay, this is a major question. Now I'll just I try to revise once again for your comfortability. I said we have import the package called java.util. Why are importing util package? Because you're using the scanner class. I'm creating an object of scanner. I'm asking the user to enter the value of A, and I'm using the scanner sc.nextint. Then I'm storing it in A. Enter the value of B. Again sc.nextint, storing the value of B. I'm trying to do division. The division is fine, not at all a problem. If division is a problem, try to do it. If it shows some error, catch it in the exception and give a variable name as E. That is that always has to be E. It can be E1 or E2 or F, E3, whatever you want. It is just a variable. Then I say E dot print stack trace. Print stack trace is a default function present inside the exception. This is what is all about this first program. Okay. Now I just give an option for you people to ask for a doubt. If you have any doubts for the session, you can just raise your voice. You can just ping so that I can give an option for you people to ask your doubts. Anyone having a doubt, you can just ping me through comment box. Someone is trying to talk, but the things are not audible. You can just ping me through What's, I mean, ping me through the comment box so that I can understand for you to clear your doubts. Okay, someone asked me a doubt. Sir, why only E in exception? Okay, I think Sandeep is asking me a question telling us why only E is an exception. I say E is not the only variable. You can define E1, E2, E3, E4 or whatever. We can't, it can be F1, F2, F3 also. It is just a variable to store, that's it. Okay, it's just a variable to store. It is not a problem with respect to E or F or G. It is just a variable. It can be like E, whatever. It is just a variable name to store catch that exception, that's it. Hope Sandeep you cleared the doubt. Any other doubts? So I think we haven't. We have muted few people because of this thing. If you can ping me through message chat box, I can unmute you so that we can ask a question. Okay. Any question from anyone? Someone is trying to talk. I'm not so clear because people have to ping me message to chat box so that I can ask. What does finally do? Okay, good. So what does finally block will do is, see, finally is one of the block which is kept to handle the last statements in terms of whenever some exception has handled. For example, I give an example of what finally we do. You're trying to open a connection to SQL database through programming. And while open the connection, what you do is by mistake there was some network issue and you try to forget the connection, you try to close the connection. So if you try to close the connection, what happens is the connection will still be open and your other clients can also can't access it because you've already opened the connection, you not close it. So finally is the block which is basically used to close the connection. That is, finally mean to say irrespective of exception is handled, irrespective of try as handled or catch as handled, finally will be executed for sure. Finally will be executed for sure without fail. Finally block is a block which will be executed irrespective of try has happened or catch has happened. Finally block are basically used to handle, that is, open the connection or close the connection. Mean to say that a connection is open, I forgot to close, then use of finally so that the connection will be closed. Finally, as the name says, the last statement of your code. It will be executed for sure irrespective of try or catch. That's about finally. Good. Any other questions? Any other questions? If you don't have questions, we can go for the next program. I want the people to just say done. Okay, you can just type it as done so that we can go for the next program.
Done, sir.
Great. You can just type it, or else you can just. It would be good if you can type a group chat. Okay. Good. 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 Okay. Fine. Great. So facing pain problems, you can ping me through the chat box, or else you can say done so that it will be fine for me. Great. Okay. Good. 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 Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So I have like 5 more minutes, like 5 more minutes for this meeting. I'll just tell you a few other concepts because before starting the next meeting, which will be basically on the threads. Okay. I want people to connect to that meeting on threads. But before that, I'll just revise few concepts. Okay. Where you have in your Java perspective. Just a minute. Okay. Great. So basically, what you need to understand here is whenever you are handling with respect to data types. Okay, our data types must be declared in terms of okay, we have something called as wrapper classes. We have something called as concept of wrapper classes. What is a wrapper class? Wrapper class is a theory perspective where I have created it as integer, I have created it as int, but actually int is, I told you Java is an object oriented programming mean to say everything an object will be created. So you must be getting something in your mind, sir, here we have int, but we have not created any object. How come is it? Mean to say that in default, in the backend, we have something called as wrapper classes. For int, a small int data type also, an integer class is there, and it actually gets opened automatically. Okay, mean to say that the int would be called, the object would be created for this int automatically. It is completely a theory perspective. No need to worry with respect to your academics, because we have something called as the concept of wrapper classes. If someone asks you, if you mean to say Java is an object oriented programming, then you have int here. Why are you not creating an object for int? I am not creating an object of int because int is there inside the wrapper class. The wrapper class is something that automatically the object will be created in the backend for the wrapper classes. Okay, it's a completely different scenario. Fine, but you must understand here why it is static. Why it is static is we are not creating any object for this. I am not creating an object for exception class. If you can understand this properly, I am not creating any object for this exception class. That is the reason it is static. I have a static function here. If I have a static function does not require an object to be called. So I'm not creating any object for this program. We go to the next example called thread example. There we are creating an object and calling the functions. But here we are not creating any object except for the scanner, because we are writing inside the public static void main function. When something is written public static void main function, the code will execute automatically. If you're trying to call something which is out of public static void main, then we need to create an object of it. Only then we can call inside the class. Okay, great. Fine. So I think for like 5 more minutes, we'll be connecting to one more meeting. This is a thread example, which is very important. Okay. Due to network issue, we have made two different sessions. Okay. Thread example is very important. We have a lot more concept to learn in thread. Okay. And I expect people to join exactly at 11:40. Okay. Because it will be disturbing others also. Okay. If any doubts, okay, you can ping me. You can ping through our mail ID. We will respond. Okay. Or else you can just connect to the next class. Okay, we'll be waiting for you by thread example. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye.
Sir, when is the next class?
We have 11:40. We have thread example to be done.
11:40, sir.
11:40. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Great. Bye.